poverty, all that other stuff. They end up falling into this so hard. And in a way, they end up becoming victims, despite the fact that they vote and act against other people and victimize other people and do really fucked up, terrible things. They've just got really swept up by the movements of power that these people have exerted over them, right?
Of course it was Lynn that said yes.
I feel bad for Lynn because she just seems dumber than fuck. She's just a party guy.
No, Lynn seems like dumb sweet, you know? Like someone who's just so sweet and makes
That's what I
them
mean.
dumb.
I'm just like, bro, hang it up.
Is that me? No.
Not at all.
I don't know how I come off. I don't know how I come off at all, because when I was like not full of PTSD and like saw people in person, they all told me I came off very intimidating and they all thought I was a bitch until they got to know me, and then they're like, you're the sweetest fucking person ever.
You seem like the right amount of like nice. Like Lynn sounds like she'd be walking down the street with absolutely nothing.
I got that
It's very, was it naive optimism? Fucked them up. I fucked them up. That was really fun. What the fuck? Oh my god. Yo, this is crazy. It's like the bus, but just the whole house. Attack the creepy arms, which is these.
Happy to hear something. It takes away all of the weight and momentum. But this is going to come back later. I do want to put this out there because, like I said, I thought that this was interesting, but I will be harping on it later. So, we are now introduced to our main character, Jeff, a young man, presumably mid-teens, because once again, God forbid to use any kind of age to really give an idea. Not even like a grade, like they say, because the whole thing here is
Been victim to this movement and become mindless fucking mouthpieces for hatred, right? And end up doing crazy shit that threatens their life and fucks up their career and safety and everything, even fucking more than it was before, right? Like doing something that's like raiding the Capitol on behalf of the president. Let's see what this looks like. Oh, my highlight was when I didn't die. Oh, when I sniped. Ah, nice. Yes. It was when I sniped the Scarlet Witch after I blocked her special. I blocked hers.
did win. Look at the ranking. They won.
No way.
What?
Yeah, Bear Gang took their place.
Nobody probably showed up. Maybe they fought.
And we're still second. Monsters Inc. didn't beat us, yeah.
Yeah. We're gonna have
China number one.
Damn. They could take first right now if they went and took all their places back.
Poverty, all that other stuff. They end up falling into this so hard. And in a way, they end up becoming victims, despite the fact that they vote and act against other people and victimize other people and do really fucked up, terrible things. They've just got really swept up by the movements of power that these people have exerted over them, right? got him. That was sick. Jarvis clipped that. Oh yeah. That really did feel like Iron Man right there. I don't want to watch that shit.
But way more comfortable spinning around and reading about whoever. Instead, we can just talk about, regardless of division, is it good or bad to reject democratic rules? Is it good or bad to threaten the media based on my principles, which value the present media?
So Trump has repeatedly called for like investigations into reporters, into media outlets. He believes that the business licenses of like ABC and CBS, MSNBC, he says, should be pulled. I mean, you don't see these sorts of threats from the Democratic Party.
Okay, so let's get into them. Has Trump pulled anybody's license ever as president? Has he actually sent any government officials to do any investigations of any major?
So you agree, though, stop him saying...
That's what I'm talking about. That was sick. I'm gonna create a marker for that too. I'm gonna click that shit. Oh wait, no, I already did the thing. So I should be able to click it from chat. Oh, I didn't make you a mod either. Let me make you a mod, bro. So you could do this shit too for me. Yeah, I'm got you. I got you, bitch. It's not the same thing every single time. When you do space ripples, the objective will always change. There's only been a couple of them that I've seen so far. Like, there's one where a Gatling gun drops and you have to shoot a lot of enemies at once. And, like the one I just did where you have to kill all the eggs and stop all the guys from spawning. Daimacho. Daimacho. Oh. Daimacho. Daimacho every day. They're just like, why is this guy saying weed? People like the people on the ground, the citizens or whatever, it's not power, it's an insecurity, it's a sense, it's like what I was talking about. I don't know if you were here, I was watching a video by this guy, Channel 5, All Gas, No Brakes, about Dear Kelly. It was a movie following the life of the Trump MAGA guy and how he ended up there. It's definitely a thing of these people either don't have a sense of security or they lack that security. They don't have a sense of significance or they lack that sense of significance. And they don't have any sense of love or they don't feel loved, right? And those people, coupled with probably a lack of education, some poverty, all that other stuff, they end up falling into this so hard. And in a way, they end up becoming victims. That was the highlight? It was the highlight for you? That was funny as shit, dude. Oh, that's a nice highlight that I got for me. Fucking them up. Where are they? At least I got somebody this time, even though it didn't land exactly where I fucking aimed. I hit somebody and killed them. Oh my god, 20 player KO streak. Oh, I almost had that. Holy shit. Sorry about that, guys. I'm on. I'm finally on. I just had a little bit of running around last minute. how to get on the porcelain throne for a while. Hope everyone's doing very well on this yet another crazy Saturday in the United States of America. Welcome. What? Oh, it's just some randoms, I think. I don't know what it's saying. What's going on here? No, yeah, it's just another random. No, he's not wrong though. My stream is acting up. It is slow for some reason. I might have to reboot the. Actually, you know what? I think I know exactly what's causing this. I think about it. Let's see. I did change a little bit of the settings before I got on here. Well, let me do a quick reset. So if I look at their channel, they were made yesterday? Were they made yesterday? Yep. That's crazy. That's crazy. Literally made yesterday. Alright, cool. I'm back. I have easy solutions for stuff like that though. Bam. Right there. Anyways, what is going on, everybody? We have a lot to cover. It's been a few days. It seems like the streams run a-okay just now. Jesus fucking Christ. Jesus fucking Christ. Finally, we're seeing some pushback in the United States of America from all the crazy stuff that's been happening. And this actually has to do with something I kind of called. I had a feeling it was going to fucking happen, right? And when I saw, essentially, the New York City mayor, right? If you don't know, he's been, you know, they've been doing corruption charges against him, essentially. He came out that he was doing some shady shit, and they're trying to, you know, just as what usually happens when you break the fucking law, they prosecute you, they try to charge you for fucking crimes and shit. And lo and behold, to no one's surprise, all of a sudden he starts to support Trump, right? And this is a Democratic mayor, right? In a Democratic state, in a Democratic city. You'd wonder why, the fuck would he want to do something like that? And he comes out and says, you know what? Trump's immigration policies, fuck it. We're going to support it. We're going to let him get away with it. And we're not going to care. I called out, I said, hey, I think the only reason why he's doing this, just like anyone else would do this, is because they're about to get into some legal trouble, and they essentially want Trump to come in and save them. Was I wrong? Not at all. Not at all. Because what happens shortly after he comes out and supports Trump, once he comes into office and the cases come down to it, they're trying to dismiss it, right? They're trying to protect his ass. What happens now, right? So we're seeing the Trump admin putting pressure on the justice system in New York to drop this mayor's charges. The prosecutors that they grab, right? First one that lines up, they're like, yo, drop his charges. The guy takes one good look at this, and he's like, fuck that. Are you kidding me? I'm not gonna do that shit. I don't want anything to do with this. They fucking quit. They bring in another guy. Same thing happens. They go through seven, not one, not two, not three, 7 prosecutors who resign and quit their jobs in protest of actually dropping this guy's case. 7 fucking prosecutors. This is good news, right? Because obviously in a time where it seems like every single time the right does something, every single time Trump breaks the fucking law, Elon Musk breaks the law, whenever someone does some shit, we don't really see a lot of pushback. That's the type of pushback that we need, right? When it came to the Congress people who were stopped outside of the Department of Education, right? They didn't fight back in the way that I feel like would be appropriate for what was going on. And they should be getting arrested trying to get their way back into that building, right? They should be showing that we're not going to back down and just allow these actual criminals to run around and take over this country, this government. But this is refreshing to see this happen. It wasn't even just 7 prosecutors, actually. It was also 5 DOJ lawyers, right? I called it, though. I'm just saying, I called it. And we could expect this kind of treatment or actions, right? We could expect all this shit to repeat if we see this happen again with yet another Democratic politician or person in power, right? That was a beautiful dab. I didn't even take my starting dab. I was so excited to hop back into stream. It's been like a whole, what is it, 3 or 4 days? I was pretty busy with Valentine's Day and work and all that kind of stuff. So let's take another dab before I get into the real heart of all these issues that have been going on this week. It does piss me off to see that our, well, it's not surprising. It pisses me off, but it's not surprising to see that these, politicians, these Democrats, are so, weak? They're so fucking weak. They're so easy to bend the knee to bullshit. They're so quick to just cave in when it comes to accepting money and power, little gold doubloons, and sacrificing their own constituents for it. I really think it should be illegal for that to happen. And that, I mean, a Democrat, someone who's elected Democrat and ran as a Democrat, was elected by Democratic voters, that if they wanted to flip parties and support and policies, that they should be held up for re-election. They shouldn't just be allowed to just run. Or just keep doing whatever the fuck it is that they want to do.
New York City tonight, breaking developments involving the mayor, and there's been anger over the Department of Justice ordering prosecutors to drop the case against Mayor Eric Adams. Tonight, at least 7 prosecutors.
The people get screwed. It's like, how do you even know, or how do we even ensure that, because, the whole point of voting is to try to get somebody who represents you to represent you. How do we even know, or how are we going to have that safety where we elect someone and, we're not going to have to worry about down the line them totally just betraying us.
Have now quit instead of going along with the DOJ on this. One prosecutor who resigned saying this move by the DOJ would only be carried out by a fool or a coward. Well, tonight, the news coming in moments ago, the DOJ has officially moved to dismiss the case against the mayor. Here's our chief investigative correspondent, Aaron Kotursky.
Tonight, growing calls for the mayor of New York to resign as the federal corruption case against him sparks a mutiny at the Justice Department. 7 prosecutors have now resigned, refusing an order to drop the charges against Eric Adams, one saying dismissing the case would only be carried out by a fool or a coward. The stunning...
Well, what do they mean by that? Like, fool and coward, what do they mean by that? Well, it's easy to understand what the fuck they mean by that. They don't want to lose their job. If you have a prosecutor or anyone in the Justice Department who is too afraid to actually carry out justice because of, let's say, the president or someone above them, they're just afraid, and period, because they don't want to lose their job. Of course they're a coward. They should definitely carry out justice. They should
Starting with Danielle Sassoon, the U.S. attorney in Manhattan who accused the Justice Department and Adams of negotiating a quid pro quo, dumping the case in exchange for the mayor's help with President Trump's immigration crackdown. Today, Adams denied it.
I didn't do anything wrong. Throughout the entire ordeal, I said one thing. My attorney will handle the legal part. I'm going to handle running the city.
Adams appeared with Trump's border czar Tom Homan, clearing federal immigration agents to once again operate in the city's jail complex at Rikers Island. Homan leaning on the mayor to follow through.
If he doesn't come through, I'll be back in New York City, and we won't be sitting on the couch. I'll be in his office, up his butt, saying, where the hell is the agreement we came to?
The Democratic mayor campaigned for a reprieve. flying to Florida to meet with Trump, attending his inauguration, telling deputies not to criticize Trump. Whether Adams was guilty was beside the point. The Justice Department said it decided the case should be dismissed without assessing the strength of the evidence. Instead, officials said they wanted Adams focused on accomplishing the immigration objectives established by President Trump. That U.S. attorney appointed by the Trump administration, a conservative who...
This is nothing short to me than political warfare. Like, it is literally just moles infiltrating other political parties and shit. Like, that's all that I'm seeing here. Like, this is
Clerk
dirty.
for the late
This is
Supreme
dirty
Court
as
Justice
fuck.
Antonin
There's
Scalia
no
warned
other-
the DOJ was
there's no
setting
way to explain it.
a
This is just
breathtaking
dirty-ass
and
shit.
dangerous precedent.
It is a dangerous
And just as we came on the air tonight, David, the Justice Department did file its motion to dismiss the Adams case, calling it necessary and appropriate. A federal judge will still need to sign off. David?
Aaron Kaczynski with us tonight.
So, I managed to get the army of AI bots to just
All right,
fuck
as I've
off.
said many
It's kinda
times
fucking
before,
funny. If you just ignore them and put subscriber mode on, they kind of just fuck off. But it's crazy how quick they are to target. Like, it was just a bunch of other, like, profiles that had just got created yesterday. Jumping in on YouTube chat. But they ain't getting me this time. They did help me, though, and it went away. They pointed out that my stream was a bit laggy in the beginning, so I had to start it over. I don't know what the fuck is going on and why it does that. However, here again, here's another clip about this.
Thursday with Trump's so-called border czar, Tom Homan, to discuss the possible reopening of an ICE office inside New York's Rikers Island jail. Protesters
That is
rallied in Manhattan to
disturbing. That is disturbing. They want to turn Rikers jail into not just what it already is, or what it was, into a fucking immigration concentration camp.
ICE. This is a Nicaraguan asylum seeker.
I'm a Nicaraguan citizen. I came to this country looking for opportunity. The opportunity that was taken away from me in my country. The opportunity for freedom of speech and to work here and to be a contributing citizen. The U.S. has taken away the liberty that Nicaragua has also taken away.
The impact that this will have on the economy of New York City is going to be fucking destructive. It's going to be destructive. What's going on, Johnny? I'm glad you're not a bot. Thank God you're not a bot. No, it's on YouTube. I had a bunch of the racist AI bots just jumped in again, where they're all just saying the N-word and calling me a pedophile. Because I'm left-leaning. I've been called a lot of random shit lately. It doesn't make any sense. Like racist against Puerto Ricans at work? That was nuts. Still a crazy thing to me.
To be taken for anything else is crazy to me. You know what I'm saying?
It's crazy to me. Just like what that song just says. Crazy to me. I smoked this joint today called Atomic Apples. Fucking delicious. From Alien Labs, bro. That shit. That shit'll knock your ass out, bro. That shit'll knock your ass out. No cap. No cap.
All I ask for is freedom.
For more, we're joined by Ron Kuby, criminal defense and civil rights lawyer based here in New York. Well, this is amazing. It seems to be almost an echo of the Saturday Night Massacre when Nixon tried to get his way with the Justice Department. We'll talk about that in a minute. But explain the significance of the interim U.S. attorney in New York, the Southern District, often called the Sovereign District, and the significance of that. Her resigning, followed by 5 other top attorneys.
And at this point, it's a lot more than that. Again, this video came out a day ago. At this point, it's not just the 5 DOJ lawyers. Like I said before, it's the 7 prosecutors.
Illustration that you don't have to comply under these circumstances. Rather than become a Trump toady, which is one option, you can quit your job, and obviously Danielle Sassoon has many other opportunities awaiting her. She was clearly a rising star on the right until she ran afoul of the Trump administration on this issue. And so it's a good illustration solution for people who are considering their career over the next 4 years, for them to say, federal prosecutors to say, you know what, I'm just not going to go along with this. I am going to resign. I'm not going to carry out these
duties. Not wrong, but this sets a precedent, right? So anyone who does work in law, right, let's say if they wanted to work in the government for one reason or another, maybe they wanted to work in positions like this. They may not want to anymore. The job securities are in threat and they haven't even secured a job yet. Like, what would be the point of working for a position like this if you're just going to end up having to be, like, forced into doing unlawful shit, forced into making decisions by the president or Elon Musk or whoever fucking random person ends up telling them to, instead of just actually following the letter of the law, right? This is a terrible precedent.
Duties, and it illustrates sort of a hollowing out of the more competent attorneys in the Justice Department, which just makes it that much harder for the Trump administration to sort of carry out its agenda against activists, against public officials, and against other people who cross it.
I mean, this is amazing.
This is, I don't, like, this coupled with what I'm about to talk about again, I'm going to bring this up. I'm going to talk about this, like, not officially. I feel like I already did officially, but I'm bringing this up in an official longer stream, because I know the day I just hopped in the stream real quick for like 30, 40 minutes and then just, like, ranted about this in full. I wanted to bring a lot of attention to this because of its importance, especially to the state of this country. This is a constitutional crisis, right? Everything in terms of our rights, right? Our constitutional freedoms, right? All these things that have been granted to us and have been available to us for 200, maybe even 300 fucking years is now about to be just shredded up into bits and is being treated as if it's already null and void by Trump. You know, Trump not too long ago made a federal funding freeze, especially when it comes to agencies like USAID and what was it, what was it, committee, department of some shit, well, a few different places, right? And, you know, and this is definitely an unconstitutional thing. Why is it unconstitutional? It's unconstitutional because Congress approved the funding. This is congressionally approved funding, right? This isn't just random siphoned funds that are moved around and all this other shit that Biden himself had claimed or whatever. Trump he's not in the power to affect that, right? If you wanted to change that, there's legal, like, official, more legitimate ways of going about that, and you have to go through Congress with that in order to do so. You can't just pull out an executive order out your ass and say, you know, this can't be getting funding, or this can't get funding. And even more so, you can't just hire some random fucking dude who is not even elected by anybody, right? And say that him and his 20-year-old goons have just as much power when it comes to determining who gets the money or who doesn't than Congress or even the heads of said agencies in which that they're affecting, right? Again, this is unconstitutional. But again, you know, doing the executive orders isn't technically illegal. But what's illegal, though, and where the constitutional crisis actually lies, is with the fact that Trump is disobeying a judge's order to lift the freezing, to unfreeze those funds. How many dollars? Billions of dollars in federal funds, right? He's still holding on to that. And as I just checked about an hour ago, or less than an hour ago, he still is. So he's disobeying the law. And he's disobeying a order from the guardrail that determines and enforces said law. And he's taking it a step further and accusing the judge of not being able to or having the powers to do said thing, right? So he's even accusing the upholders of the law of not having the power to uphold the law, which is absurd. It's absurd, right? And it's not just absurd, it's a constitutional crisis. This country should be rioting, right? This is the type of shit that they did the Boston Tea harbor stuff with. This is the type of shit that they, you know, fought and attacked the British for. This is the type of shit that countries revolt over, is when their own leader starts to break the law and starts to put out orders and shit like they're kings, right? This is that type of situation, and yet the country does not react to it as such. The society doesn't react to it as such. As a matter of fact, a lot of the mainstream media, even the leftist media, don't seem to be taking it as seriously as they should be, under the fear of being an alarmist, right? They don't want to sound like they're an alarmist or they're overreacting and that they're jumping to fucking conclusions and that they're being incredibly biased and trying to spread fear, right? They don't understand that certain situations call for those types of responses, and this 100% should be one of those situations. We should be rioting, yet you sit around and accept it as if this is all okay. And it's frustrating as someone who, you know, also is being forced to have to just move along with the flow and recognize this, acknowledge this, and keep carrying on, because, you know, I also have to worry about my own life and my own safety, my own individual stuff that's going on here, right? I can't just sacrifice everything for this, but I should. I feel like I should. I feel like we all should, to be honest. And I know I'm not going to, because me by myself isn't going to do shit, right? If I had a whole bunch of group of people who were getting together, ready to sacrifice everything and fight back for this stuff, I'd be 100% willing to do that. But yet again, I struggle to find that. And when I speak about this to other people, as I do now, which is why I do the stream, and when I talk to people, you know, in person or whatever, and I try to bring the awareness and concern for these types of issues to them, I struggle to get even a flicker of fire or inkling of desire to want to do anything about what's going on, right? I mean, they're definitely concerned, definitely aware, and they definitely believe something bad's going to happen, but we just can't seem to be getting that. We don't have that anymore. There's nothing that influences us in that way, and it's because, I honestly think it's because we don't feel the immediate disastrous effects of this yet. And the scary part about all of this is that by the time we do feel the immediate disastrous, scary, you know, effects of all this shit, it's gonna be too fucking late. We're not gonna be able to do anything about this. We're gonna be playing repair rather than prevent, right? We're gonna be trying to fix things and trying to survive rather than trying to preserve what we have right now and keep our safety, right? I hope I'm wrong and this changes soon. And, you know, as someone who's a random streamer who's just, you know, just starting and stuff like that, I hope that one day some of the stuff that I do and some of the things that I put out there will influence people to move in that direction. I actually want to do something. I feel like I also have to represent that in my own actions, which I will do soon. And not too very long from now, once I kind of figure out what it is I should be doing. I do call my, I call my local politicians, or, you know, the state politicians or national politicians or whoever, and do all those type of things on my own, you know, whenever I need to. And maybe I'll, you know, help out an organization here and there whenever the time comes. But I'm not capable in this position right now to make the difference that I want to make, and I feel like a lot of Americans who are aware of this are in that same position. And, you know, this feeling, along with that feeling comes a kind of sense of a little bit of despair, you know, a little bit of despair. And the only thing I can say right now in regards to that is that when I see things like the prosecutors fighting back and quitting their jobs and shit like that, when I see protesters like what's in this picture right here, at least trying to do something, you know, I have that faith again, a little bit of faith, a little bit of hope, a little bit of hopium right there, that there are people who are willing to do this kind of stuff out there, and it's only a matter of time. It's only a matter of time before it pops off. That's the copium I'm telling myself in my head. Anyways, kind of got off track a bit there. This next thing, well, actually no, I'm not even done talking about this shit. Right now, when it comes to the federal funding thing, the judge who said to lift the order is giving Trump a 5-day deadline to do so, right? Or else. What's the or else? Let's see. We're not even sure. I mean, other than him trying to enforce that law, right? I'm guessing that's what's going to happen. But if he doesn't listen, we're about to see some real big fucking blowback, and we're going to actually witness for the first time in United States history Constitution being tested and its powers being tested, and really just the overall integrity and structure of the justice system being tested and its final boss, right? This is going to be like the final boss for it. They're going to go up against some crazy shit, and that crazy shit happens to be Trump saying, fucking no, I'm too stubborn to listen to the law. Now let's get into this. Elon Musk, his son, had a interesting appearance in the Oval Office just a couple days ago, as some of you may have seen. And you know, Trump sits on this cuck chair over on the side and just allows Musk to kind of just take control over the situation, what's going on. Kind of like how he's doing with the rest of the fucking country, right? It's very clear to me. Now, Trump is now the new first lady. Elon Musk has put on the big boy pants, and he's taking control. And this is not even like a joke, right? I know it is kind of a joke me saying this, but it is the reality of the situation. Elon Musk has actually taken control. He is calling the shots. He is the one who is determining who gets hired and fired. He's the one who's determining which programs get funding and which programs don't get funding. He's determining the size and shapes of these agencies. He's also creating some and destroying some sometimes. And he has a lot of other powers where he gets to essentially tell the heads of these own agencies to fuck off. I have more control over this than you do. And as well as his army, because he has his army of 20-year-olds who, I don't know where the fuck he picked these people up from. I don't know if they work in the offices over at X or whatever, but all these people, as we covered was a couple days ago, are young kids who have track records, right? Specifically ones where they are not to be trusted because they leak sensitive data or other things like that, as we've covered with Elon Musk's own senior advisor. The lead head of his little 20-year-old army, his name is Big Balls, and he was fired from his previous job for leaking sensitive data. But this is Musk's senior advisor. So he comes on the Oval Office, has his kid, uses him as a human shield to essentially try to show the world that he is human being and that he does have empathy or some really stupid shit, right? But what happens, right? What happens when his kid shows up to this whole interview? We see a brief glimpse into something that I consider pretty fucked up and disturbing when you think about it, right? At first, you're gonna laugh. You're gonna find this funny. Hey, I found it hilarious. But it's gonna sit with you. It's gonna feel really weird. And when you think about it, you're not gonna like where it brings you. So Elon's son, and it's kind of funny because the whole world kind of just refers to him as Elon's son because his actual name is literally impossible to pronounce. It's just mathematical equation symbols, right? Elon's son happens to say some colorful words to Trump on the hot mic, right? That picks up his voice when it wasn't intentional. And the choice words in which his son ends up using really shows either two things, right? Two possible worlds, maybe even three possible worlds. First world is that Elon is really trying to exert power and troll Trump, right? And remind him of his place right now. Remind him that he's sitting in the cock chair right now, Elon Musk has the floor. So that's the one world, and he's using his son to convey that to Trump directly. The second world is that Elon's son overhears a lot of crazy shit that Elon says, and his son is repeating this, right? He's just repeating this shit. He doesn't know what he's saying, he's repeating it, right? That's the other world. I will take it down right before I play this crazy stuff. All right. Third world, third possible world, right, is that his son is incredibly smart. He's incredibly smart, and he's also just as much as a troll as his dad, and he's just having fun. Which I don't think is that one, because that's the most optimistic one, right? And he doesn't look that smart. I'm just gonna be blunt with that. So let's hear this. Let's hear the first set of words that his son has to say.
Is to restore democracy. This is from one year to the next are the same, and they're.
Now let me play that again, so you hear it. But he doesn't say shut your mouth. He actually says shut your fucking mouth. Right? He says the full F word.
Is to restore democracy. This is from one year to the next are the same, and they're partnership with the agency heads, and I checked recently with the president to make sure that these.
He's literally shushing him. He's like shushing him. He's like shh shh. So he tells Trump that he needs to go away.
Be signing a very important.
He needs to shut his fucking mouth.
Deal today. It's
and he even says one more thing to him.
And I'm going to ask Elon
to this video plays
tell you a little bit about it.
This is from one year to the next are the same, and they're.
I don't think this video plays it.
And the force of this complaint.
The one other thing that he says to him is that you're not the real president. He tells that. His son tells that to Trump, that you're not the real president. So I'm gonna pull that up so you guys can believe me. Just for the record, I don't want people to accuse me of lying, because I know how that be. Let's see. Not the real president. This is actually
it's
really
not a
crazy.
hobby.
Wait, why is this
It's
showing
your empire.
ads? Bitch.
There are.
Those are the wrong. All right, so this is from the David Pakman show, because he happened to already had a clip.
Democracy. This may seem like, well, aren't we to restore?
Not the president. You need to go away. I'm going to play it here, okay?
To restore democracy.
Yep.
This may seem
You're
like,
not the real
well, aren't we in a
president. You
democracy?
need to go away. He literally just told him, "You're not the real president. You need to go away." So he did you get shadow banned? Oh shit, let me see. Hope not. Maybe. Yeah, you didn't get shadow banned. Why'd you say that? Cheers, by the way. Cheers. You seem fine. I don't see nothing changed.
The loudest?
This is nuts. This is actually nuts to butts, right? Because if you think about it, like I said before, if you think about it, there's no shot that this kid came up to this conclusion of, I want to say this right now by himself. There's no way. And he's sitting on his shoulders, he's shushing Trump. Trump's he's crying eternally, you know? He's like, wants to die. You could see it in his face. He's like, I can't believe this kid, this child is making me look like a bitch. And his dad has stole my fucking power straight from me. And now I gotta sit here and act like everything's okay, right? Which is nuts. But if you think about it again, and I'm pretty sure this is the thing, Musk is doing some crazy narcissistic manipulation tactic or whatever. He's really trying to crush Trump, by telling his son to embarrass him in this way. Because it would let you send a chat only the emails? Really? That's weird. No, I didn't change anything. You should be able to send shit just fine. I didn't get anything on my own. Yeah, I didn't get anything. It might just be Twitch. It might be Twitch acting up. I don't know, Twitch be tripping. So, you know, this is one thing, right? This is all fun and games. Son's crazy, and you know he's making his son crazy, and he's using his son as a meat shield to make himself seem less inhumane and less lizard man-like, right? But the real issue, the really scary part, which you said time and time again, we have the world's richest man, who has now accumulated more power than most elected officials, right? Most elected officials don't even hold this much power and control over this so many different branches or administration. And again, not elected. So, for 32 minutes, right? This has never happened before. And this is just to put another, things into perspective. You got a man, never elected before, right? Not elected official, holding a press conference. He's hosting the press conference in the Oval Office, in the fucking Oval Office, telling us about what the government and the Trump administration's taking care of, right? And all the things that they found and this, that, and the third. While Trump just sits there. He just sits there. He doesn't have much to add other than like a joke or a quip here and there, or just to double down on whatever it is that Musk had to say. While Trump just looks up at him and like, like a cock, I got no power. Like, dude's just doing nothing. Trump has, they've essentially split the role of president down the middle, right? Trump has one set of things to worry about, while Musk has the other set of stuff, right? Trump doesn't have the brain and capability to handle funds, money, economy stuff, firing systems. He can't do that, right? He barely even knows how to run a business. Let's be real. He barely knows. He might be the whole business billionaire guy. He has other people doing shit for him all the time, right? That's how his shit works, right? Musk is capable of doing lots. But he's not that good. Musk is horrible when it comes to optics and getting people to cheer and fucking like just sounding good and cool and all that kind of stuff. He's not that great at it. Some people might argue he is, but he's nowhere near as good as Trump is. Elon was trying to get Trump to slap that kid live on TV. Wait, really? What? Elon tried to get Trump to slap his own kid? Wait, hold on, I gotta look that up. That's crazy. Hold on. He just blew my fucking mind with that. Hold on. Elon Trump kid slap. Oh, yeah. Oh wait, no, never mind. I just got what you were saying, bro. You know what it was? It was the dab that got me, like always. You tell me to take a dab, you say some funny shit, my brain breaks. Dude, I can't believe I feel stupid. But no, it's funny. You know what? Actually, that's true. I'm not even gonna lie, that's true. He might actually have been trying to do that. He might actually been trying to get him to slap his own fucking kid live on TV. Because then he would have just been like, yo, I'm taking this shit over. He's the child abuser. But you know what's even more nuts? Actually, I think he would have been able to survive that. I think he would have been able to survive that. I don't think Trumpers would have been like, oh, we can't support Trump now because he hit a kid live on TV. They would have been like, oh, that kid deserved it. Quiet. Welcome, Dark Shade. Welcome. Hope you're doing well today. Quite a circus, two clowns trying to rule the world. Yes, it is. And again, like I was trying to say, right now they're splitting the responsibilities of one position down the middle because by themselves they're not able to fulfill their goals and achievements, right? Whatever the fuck it is that they're trying to figure out. Was it Trump? Is the guy on the camera? He's like the front man. He's the image, right? He's the name brand and all that kind of stuff. He's the guy that speaks to the crowd and gets them to cheer him on. Musk is an awkward little shrivelly little fucking shit brain motherfucker. He's an awkward, embarrassing, kind of creepy ass motherfucker. He's not badass in any way. I mean, Trump's not badass at all, let's be real. But at least he's more convincing than Musk in terms of that towards the people, their fucking base audience, right? And again, Musk is good with the systems. He's good with the efficiency shit, quote unquote efficiency. I mean, by efficiency I mean by cutting corners, the costs, and fucking firing everybody and making sure that you have barely just enough money flowing through to get the lights on, right? And again, he also has his own, I guess, niche level of popularity in terms of he's more popular with the youngsters, right? I don't think Trump really penetrates the young crowd that much as Musk would, right? He's got the tech bro lovers and all the centrists and shit on his side too. Let's not forget those guys. And together they form this they do a fusion dance, essentially. They've done a fusion dance. They form this really fucked up Dragon Ball Z character that looks like an embarrassing, unpatriotic Dr. Evil, Austin Powers, and Mini-Me, that ass. But you know what's funny is that they kind of like switch roles sometimes. They what's that term? What's that term for somebody who's switch, right? There's a switch because sometimes Trump is the Dr. Evil, and sometimes he likes to play the Mini-Me. In this position, he's playing the Mini-Me, right? And it feels like Musk has taken over the Dr. Evil. Bro, is he actually wearing? Wait, what does? No, I think Dr. Evil wears. He wears some weird ass shit. He wears like a gray fucking overcoat, right? Bro, I could see him. I could see Musk slowly converting to looking like this motherfucker. Dude, oh my god. But how does he have power, right? Let's see, what can he do? I'm gonna go to our good friends over here, Democracy Now, suggested to me by one of my friends, my good friends.
Democracy depends on a free press. Please support our...
How Musk benefits from all this, and what exactly it is that he's doing.
Independent
journal. I could go on and rant on and on about how Musk is, fucking with the Treasury, and he's putting his own coding in some systems. They're copying databases that have sensitive information, more particularly, rivals towards Musk and Trump, and it just goes on.
Journalism at democracynow.org/give. This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, The War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman with Nermeen Sheikh.
Dropsite News has revealed that procurement plans from the State Department include some $400 million to buy new Tesla armored Cybertrucks. This comes as Tesla owner and the world's richest man, Elon Musk, is already one of the biggest beneficiaries of U.S. government contracts and is now also the head of the newly created Department of Government Efficiency, tasked with slashing the federal budget and firing thousands. On Wednesday, the newly created House DOGE subcommittee held its first meeting, chaired by Republican Marjorie Taylor Greene. Elon Musk did not testify as Democrats blasted Republicans for giving him free rein to dismantle government agencies. This is Democratic Congressmember Robert Garcia.
Mr. Garcia, his little presentation was really cool. So I don't know if they really, but he comes in, right? And he's like, oh, guys, last time we were here, Marjorie Taylor Greene, she brought in for the whole room to see, and I guess the world on live television, dick pic, the first time ever. And whose dick pic was this? This was Biden's son, Hunter Biden. The dick pic that was circulating around the internet that was taken off his laptop. What this had to do with anything? Nothing. They just wanted to, not just talk shit to about Biden and make him look like shit, but also tried to spin this fucking fake narrative that Hunter Biden had some corruption going on, ties to Ukraine, accepting money, and a whole bunch of like literal lies, actual lies, all because of somehow this dick pic was related to that, which it wasn't. So he comes in and he's like, hey guys, I got my own dick pic to show. And he pulls out a picture of Elon Musk.
This entire plan is about hurting the American social safety net and destroying our institutions. And it's important that we actually call out what is happening at this subcommittee. This is not about working with the richest man on the planet. This is actually about empowering. This committee wants to empower the richest person in the world to hurt people so they can take all of this money that they so-called want to save and then give it to themselves, their companies, and their billionaire friends.
This right here was a little chart that he so nicely created. Before he had covered the each square with the different departments that Musk has already targeted or said that he's going to be targeted and defunding. When you defund these departments, if you defund these agencies, these are the things, the consequences that happen, right? Because again, they were created to serve certain purposes in society, and when you pull those things away, those purposes don't get fulfilled, they don't get met, and you have a lot of United citizens here that are struggling, right? You got opportunities that get denied, you got workers that are in danger. Right now you got medical research that gets halted, you got the scammer thing. Oh my god, bro. If you hate getting phone calls and spam calls, bro, it's going to go up the wazoo in the next couple years because of this kind of shit. You're going to be seeing the craziest scams show up at your front door. Welcome, Can't Speak. How's everything going? How long does it take till Trump fires Musk? I am surprised, actually, that he hasn't done it already, because I thought that Trump wouldn't be able to withstand such like high levels of embarrassment and like kind of mental abuse on live television, particularly from a fucking child, right, let alone another man. So I'm surprised it hasn't happened yet. As Dark Shade's saying right now, he might get fired. Yeah, he actually might get fired at this point. Who knows? Elon definitely has positioned himself where it almost feels like it might actually be the case that he has more power over Trump. And you know, you might not say, and when I say this, I don't just mean like legislatively, right? Like, I feel like he has this type of manipulation hold over Trump that exceeds just their own personal relationship, right? The effects of this seems to be like involving, you know, the media and their public images as well as their positions right now. They rely on each other so fucking much that if the relationship or the dynamic gets jeopardized anyway, it's going to really put a wedge in their plans overall, as well as possibly, because we all know that a lot of these motherfuckers are signing up for the Trump wagon to escape criminal charges and get away with fucking corruption, but they might lose their opportunity to get away with criminal charges and their corruption. Musk is acting as a mini president, and slowly but surely he is becoming more and more powerful. As I said before, and we weren't here before, but as I said before, Musk has powers that other elected officials don't even fucking have. He has more powers than some of the agencies that the leaders of these agencies, the heads of these agencies have over their own agency, right? Which is kind of fucking crazy. Like, again, not elected. He's not an elected official. And I don't even think that special government employees or whatever bullshit title they gave to him has the ability to have that kind of power in the first place, right?
Congressional Democrats have also called on officials to quote.
Also why at every movement that they have made so far, there's been a roadblock of a federal judge coming up and stopping it, putting a freeze on it. But these freezes, they don't always hold up, right? They're not the strongest thing in the world, and we can't expect them to last forever, especially if it's something that Trump really fucking wants. If he really wants that thing, there's not going to be a lot that's going to get in the way of him obtaining that said thing, right? It's just going to be a whole era, like this whole year. I want to say the next few months particularly, it's just going to be day after day, week after week, of them testing the limits and the constitutional strength of our democracy, right? Step by step, trying to see when will the United States people say this is enough, enough's enough, right? Because I think they're starting to realize that the people might never actually get to that level, especially if they move in a way that isn't so extreme right off the rip, right? They have to do it step by step. They do it insidiously. They don't get everyone shocked and scared immediately. They don't throw cold water on their head right off the rip, right? They try to just slowly get them adjusted to the water and kind of just adjusted to how things are, right? Politicians are afraid of Musk. They are. Right-wing politicians, right? Republicans, conservatives, they're nervous, they're afraid because they don't want to lose their jobs, they don't want to lose their political support, which is like their positions, right? Because they could lose their positions from the political support of not getting enough voters or whatever behind them, right? Maybe they have blackmail on them, right? Maybe they also are corrupt and they have some shit that they could pull up out of fucking nowhere on their ass to surprise them with, you know? There is a lot of reasons why we're also afraid, right? A lot of things that we need to also take into consideration when it comes to to why these politicians act the way they do. And maybe in the future, when we take these things into consideration, maybe in the future, we'll be able to find workarounds to have an out and prevent these types of danger from befalling some people. But, you know, that's going to be a whole thing. It's going to take a very fucking long time to even get that to remotely happen. You can see, I'm trying to turn on my light. You can see. Where's the light? Where's the light? Ah! It's getting dark in here. As a Swede, how does the Americans like Musk? So it's a good question, actually. I'm glad you asked that. It's split. It really depends on who you ask, right? So usually people who are really into tech, right? They're really into like AI shit and what have you. They'll probably be pretty cool with Musk, but they also don't really like look into his political positions or maybe some of the things that he's said overall, right? So they're not going to be as like educated about where he lies and stuff like that. They only see his like his technological shit, right? And when you talk to somebody who isn't so much into that and who doesn't, you know, who's not like rich or whatever like that, they usually don't like Musk or they don't even give a fuck about him, right? Maybe you'll talk to conservative. They love him. They fucking absolutely love him. They think he's the best thing in the fucking world, right? So it really depends on who you talk to. The opinions are split, but if I would have to say overall, I think that there are a large majority, not majority, but there's a very, very almost majority amount of people that like Musk, right? Or they at least think that some of the things that he's done is cool and all, right? And I will say that SpaceX and their innovations in space flight, I guess, has been actually really good for science. The creation of a rocket that could, you know, return its like booster back to the Earth is incredible. However, I don't think that the good that that Musk has provided to the world balances out the evil and the destruction that he's actively bringing out into this world. In Sweden, Tesla has lost about 50% sales, good, and they'll continue losing sales because, as a matter of fact, I forgot to put this in my whole script, but you know what? I'll bring it up anyway. Tesla is getting slapped back hard. All the tariffs that Trump has been trying to put out, especially the ones towards Canada and Mexico, they've all decided to hit back with their own tariffs, and they've also decided to narrow down some tariffs and restrictions specifically towards Tesla and Musk, right? They're trying to make sure that he gets hit hard. Like, for example, Canada put out 100% tariff towards Tesla products. So Tesla products will be tariffed the fucking ass, and they'll make a lot less, you know, money overall. It's going to tank his stocks. And plus, that also couples in with the fact that they also wanted to put tariffs on metal, on steel, on aluminum, on car parts, a bunch of shit.
So it's definitely, there's no way that Musk is not going to feel that massive hit, especially if they move forward with this, right? He'll welcome Gamer J. Welcome. I haven't seen you in a bit. I hope you're doing well. Elon is worth $378 billion. He was able to purchase the world's most powerful country for just $300 million. Yep. Extreme wealth is a direct threat to democracy and freedom for all, and that's painfully obvious. Nobody should be a billionaire. Tax every penny over $999 million at 100%. I agree with you. Listen, what's crazy to me is that the right, these MAGA idiots, dipshits talking about drain the swamp, this, get money out of politics, that. Meanwhile, Elon made more money this election alone, than every politician who ever held a position of office in the United States throughout its entire existence. Every politician, it's net worth of every politician. So if you take the net worth of every single politician ever in the United States and combine them into a whole pool, that money won't even come close to the amount of money Musk made on this election alone. Right? Again, he's on track to becoming the world's first trillionaire. This doesn't make sense, right? It shouldn't happen, right? That shouldn't be a thing. SpaceX is cool. The tariffs are going to be hard against many U.S. companies, yes. Because, you know, with what you said, can't speak, but I think a lot of people understand this. I don't think it's too crazy. When it comes to people and the things they create, right? Specifically, if the things that they create have utility, I think we could separate those things, right? We do that with music a lot. I know a lot of people who listen to certain songs, they love the songs, but the people who made the songs, the artists, very questionable person, did some really fucking weird shit, really bad shit, right? I feel like if the music, though, were songs about the bad shit that they did, saying, oh yeah, this is fucking awesome or whatever, if the work that that person does directly reflects and is a cause and, I guess, product of their behaviors and characteristics that are bad, then fuck their art, fuck their creations, fuck their tools, fuck their inventions, fuck that stuff, right? You know, we don't need that. But SpaceX has provided some utility to the United States and to the rest of the world, to humanity in general. We should take that away from Musk because he doesn't deserve it anymore. But we can't, again, you know, it would be awesome if we could just, like, I guess take, you know what, no, fuck that, because he didn't even invent this stuff. He's not an inventor. He takes patents, he hires other people to do this kind of shit. We need to figure out who were the people who were involved in actually making that become a thing, and get those people to work on even better shit. They don't need Musk. Musk doesn't need them. Fuck those people. I mean, fuck Musk, not those people. Again, though, Elon, disgusting amount of wealth, and not just for Elon, other incredibly wealthy individuals in the United States, they should all have much higher taxes. They should all contribute a lot more to society. We would be struggling a lot less, and they would not even feel that blow as much as they say they will. It's obvious they would not be able to feel that at all. Do you think the anti-illegal immigrant policies will hurt the USA, or it's a benefit to get rid of non-taxpayers? It will 100% hurt the USA because it's not illegal for immigrants, right? It's not just about illegal immigrants, it's also about immigrants in general, right? This is an attack on immigrants in general. If it was just about illegal immigrants, they would have just enforced the laws that were already in place, and they would have just cracked down specifically on said criminals or the people that were here illegally. The majority of people that have been targeted so far and that keep getting targeted are people who are here illegally but are just immigrants. People who came in through the asylum seeking process, people who had court dates to show up to be heard and have their stuff, their I guess positions tried and their pleas heard, right? And their shit taken care of. We're talking about hundreds of thousands of immigrants that are stuck in this position, right? We have situations where people who had protected status, right, who were granted protected status from the United States, had the status revoked. right? So here's a specific story for you, right? I actually think I already had it pulled up. Let me pull it for you. There was a kid. He was a young kid, right? He was a Venezuelan kid who was deported recently, right? And this kid, hold on, Michael, deported. Let me pull it up for you because I want you to see it so he doesn't think I'm just talking shit or making this up. This kid right here. He was on track to becoming legally residing in the United States as a legal immigrant, right? He has paperwork filled out, all set to go. It was right before the inauguration, right before Trump was inaugurated. He was still in the other country. Then he comes over to the United States after Trump was inaugurated, after Trump passes all these like sweeping new policies and whatnot, right? What happens? He gets put on a fucking plane and gets sent not to Venezuela, but to Guantanamo Bay, right? Why did they send him to Guantanamo Bay? They claimed that he was part of a gang because he had a Michael Jordan tattoo on his neck. And that was it. Now he's in Guantanamo Bay at a fucking, it's not even, I don't even think detention facility is the right word for this, right? We're talking about the most intense, most fucked up prisons the United States owns, right? A torture center, essentially, for some of the worst of the worst. He got sent to there. How about the companies who hire illegal immigrants? Do they get punished, or just the workers? So what happens to the companies, right? And again, some of these people are not illegal. Most of them are legal. They're not illegal. They're here. They have permission to be here, right? If they're hiring these people, so there was a company, it was a fishing company, or they sold fish products to other restaurants in nearby areas. This happened in Newark, New Jersey. They got raided, right? Their workers that were there, they got rounded up, they get deported because they got their protected status revoked. They're no longer allowed to be here anymore because Trump said that they're not allowed to be here. What happens to the companies? They don't have any workers anymore. Most of the workers get swept up, right? So they struggle to meet demands. The workers that weren't there that day when they got swept up and the raid had happened don't want to show up anymore, right? Because either they also are legal immigrants who got their protected status revoked, or they're Hispanic and they're afraid of getting rounded up and accidentally deported, like what had happened to a couple. Well, they didn't get deported, but they did get rounded up. A couple people in that same raid I was talking about, that same place in Newark, New Jersey. There was a U.S. veteran who was a citizen who got arrested and had to get detained so he could prove that he was a U.S. citizen, right? As well as a couple other Puerto Ricans who were detained, who, all Puerto Ricans are citizens, were detained and had to prove that they were legal citizens. When I mean detained, they weren't just held on a spot. They were taken to prison, they were taken to a facility, and they had to spend several hours doing a bunch of bullshit in order to get let go, right? So they're losing money, the companies lose money, they lose workers, and again, they also lose future workforces or other people that are already there, and they have to close down their businesses. And they constantly have to shut down business. This happens a lot, where businesses go completely belly up because this happens, right? And it wasn't even that they were hiring illegals. Again, most of them were here legally. They just weren't citizens yet. We have the same in Sweden. A woman from Ukraine who lived in Sweden for 11 years is now forced to leave because her salary is low. Exactly. We have immigrants living here for years, here legally. They've made a whole life for themselves, right? They pay taxes. Some of them have fought in our fucking army, or they served in the military forces, right? Some of these people are more of a citizen to the United States than some of the legal citizens are here. Straight up. They contribute way more than the average citizen to this country. And again, they're being treated as if they are illegal. And I have to keep stressing that the majority of these people The majority of these people that are getting rounded up and deported are legal, right? And how do we know this, right? I'm not just saying this because I am left-leaning, right? How do we know this? They're targeting the rates, right? The definition of someone who's in this country illegally means that we don't know, we don't have tabs on them. We don't have information on them. We don't got their name, the legal name, right? We may not even know their whereabouts. We don't know what the fuck they're doing, right? That's why they're illegal. They're evading the law, right? We don't have an account for them. So all the people that are getting rounded up and deported and getting attacked, they know where they live, they know where they work, they know their names, they know all this shit. They know everything. They got them detailed and all that kind of stuff. It's not because they're here illegally and that they jumped over the border and all this kind of bullshit. They're here illegally. They were accounted for. They're accounted for. They're just getting their statuses and their protections taken away from them. And Trump has already tried to step that line where he wanted to revoke people who've gotten their citizenship. But thank God the judges, got up when they needed to and they shut that shit down. He wanted to revoke birthright citizenship from children, right? So he wanted kids and people who were born here through parents who were not citizens to get their citizenship taken away from them, which has never happened before and is 100% unconstitutional. And thank God, it was shut down. I hope it stays that way. Hopefully, that stays the case. But we don't know. We don't know at this point. But to answer generally, again, can't speak, it will 100% affect the economy. It will affect these businesses. Whether or not they get punished, I will see in the future them definitely getting punished if they try to protect said citizens. It's not looking pretty, and especially when it comes to blue states who decide that they want to protect their citizens. Because let's say if New York, not New York's a bad example, but if New Jersey, for example, or Colorado, for example, decides that they don't want to listen to some of these new sweeping policies, they don't want ICE to raid their businesses in their states and stuff like that, that they want to fight against that, Trump is actively working on military solutions to force these states into listening, right? And this is by his own orders, his own words, his own policies that they've listed out for all of us in great length and detail many times. So RFK Jr., right? Guy who's a former heroin addict, guy who has brain worms, the guy who also believes that vaccines are bullshit, and a whole bunch of other conspiracy theories. I always lose track of his conspiracy theories at this point. Is now the head of he's now the health secretary. He's the head of our health systems. Yay! Woo! But we have large immigrants from the Middle East who lived in Sweden for 19 years and they have not even learned our language. Yeah, but that's not again, first of all, before we even get into this, because I've had this conversation with other people from other countries, all these situations, all these countries have different situations going on, right? Different types of people, different types of things that are happening, different types of rhetoric surrounding what's actually going on, different types of stages of events that had led up to whatever immigrant crisis that we're dealing with, right? I had looked into Germany, for example. I've looked into this before, right? I know that they had 2 migrant crises over the last 20-something years, and it was because of a shift in policies where they wanted to kind of introduce more immigrants to try to boost the economy, because they had a lot of their employee numbers or worker rates had lowered for one reason or another. There's less people working, so they're trying to boost up their economy. So they tried to have this whole program to have more immigrants come in and integrate them better, and they were really bad about that. They were not good. They handled that shit really fucking horribly. So it was really hard for them to integrate their immigrants. They weren't good at it. So one thing led to another, and a lot of shit occurred within the last 20 years and turning out to what it was. Right, and one of the big things I hear a lot of times is that they have been living here for a long time and they didn't even bother to learn the language or learn the customs and what have you. again, we have that here in the United States. We got a lot of people who have been living here for fucking years and all they can do is speak Spanish. They even have positions like jobs, and we have to figure out how to communicate with them and only speak Spanish. I don't know if that's like as big of a concern for me or for I guess society as like, let's say the whole business is having to shut down because the workforce got like swept up, or even worse, whole families get ripped apart and they never see their kids again because, you know, there's just too many immigrants here and want to get rid of them or something like that. I think that we have to be careful with saying these things, whether or not they're true, because the rhetoric that surrounds them could be devastating to certain groups of people, whether or not we actually know or feel like we know what's going on. Because a lot of us have our own anecdotes and personal experiences with immigrants and people that are foreigners, so we all have our own different like initial like stereotypes and biases or whatever the fuck it is. So I guess we just have to like take that into consideration, because again, we don't want whole swaths of people to be like really fucked over, especially when like what had happened wasn't necessarily their fault, right? Even if it feels like it is their fault. Like, I've heard they commit a lot of crimes, blah blah. I was like, yeah, maybe you see a couple of them like rob a store sometimes on the news or some shit like that. But we have to take into consideration what pushed somebody to do something like that, right? We can't jump to the conclusion that it's just in their culture, because if we do that, it's like racist. It's gonna be fucking it's a slippery slope, right? What I do, like, I think what I'm trying to get at, here's a good example. The United States is really good at integrating immigrants. Like, we're really good at that shit. In terms of, like, let's say if you come from a different country, like, we're good with giving an open mind of accepting them, and eventually they seem to kind of fall in line with America, right? Overall, right? We don't see as many, like, let's say, for example, you know, in Germany, you see a lot of, like, Muslim-related attacks. Even though we have a lot of, like, Muslim people who immigrate into here, we're not seeing that same level of that kind of, like, response, right? That must be because it's not a thing of culture, right? It's got to be something else. It's got to be their reaction, either the reaction to the country they're in, or the reaction the country's having to them, and both of them combined, right? I feel like that's just a lot of like what's going on. The country doesn't really accept them a lot, or maybe they're just not good at integrating them into society. Because let's say they have like a lot of like customs that are in direct contradiction to the customs that they're already involved in, and not necessarily bad ones. Like they're not like, let's say they believe in wearing white dresses on Sundays, and the other country believes in wearing black ones on Sundays. You know, that's not. I feel like the United States would be easier in adjusting people into those kind of customs, right? It's just like, oh, you know, just do whatever the fuck you want. While in other countries, they wouldn't be so well with that. Like, there'd be a lot of fighting and a lot of violence that will erupt over that specific difference. And I guess that's what I'm trying to get at. You're quadruple vaxxed. Wow. I'm like 3. I think I'm 3. Yeah, I think I'm 4 vaccines. I think I got all 4 of them. Many don't want to be Swedish society. It's a bit weird. I mean, like, but do immigrants, you gotta put yourself in them shoes. Like, you think that they would be there if they didn't have to be? Because immigrants come to another country, they flee or they migrate for specific reasons, right? If the country they came from was absolutely fucking perfect and stuff like that, and everything they wanted to, they probably wouldn't want to leave, right? They probably wouldn't want to leave. If they're being forced into a situation where life isn't that great and they need to go somewhere else, or they just have nowhere else to go and they have to go somewhere else, you know, I'm sure that wherever they end up at, they're going to have that feeling where they don't want to actually be there, you know? Of course not. They have to be there. It's the best thing they can do, right? They're just glad that they're alive. And again, how the society reacts to them being there is just as important as how they react to the society that they're in. If the society is not willing to accept them and is already right off the rip telling them they can't do this, they can't do that, they can't act like this, they can't act like that, they have to forget their language, they have to speak ours immediately, they have to forget where they come from, they have to be like us, there's going to be a lot of friction, because you're not going to want that if you immigrate to another country. Let's be real. Like, if you went to another country because your country is like going to shit, and you're trying to figure out your own stuff. And you know, you're not gonna be feeling very welcomed if every time you go out somewhere there's that kind of like mentality or attitude being directed at you, right? It's gonna suck. And as a group, so that's only the individual. So let's say it keeps happening, right? You got more and more people, they keep getting affected. Then you got some people who are just really don't like the immigrants, so they're willing to take it another level and try to instigate them and push them a little bit further. One thing leads to another, you know. A lot of bad shit can happen real fast, and then again, you have to take into other considerations, other factors. Maybe there's somebody who has something to gain politically speaking, and they end up doing something that they know is going to instigate the current situation and feeling that society has between each other, and take the issues between two groups of people one step further, right? Look at the news in Munich when an Afghan immigrant runs over 28 people with a car. Yeah, I know, but what does that prove? What are you trying to, what do you think that says to you? What do you think that says to you? Do you think that's like part of their culture? Or do you think that has, that reason why it had folded has something a lot deeper to that? So like, oh, let's dissect this, right? Because I feel like this is like when this happens, we kind of take similar patterns, right? All the events have similar patterns. When European countries experience like an event like this, where an immigrant does some crazy shit or whatever, I hear a lot of the same, like, I see a lot of the same patterns where this person who is the immigrant, they had a bunch of shit that they had to go through or whatever, and they were pushed towards more extremist views because the country had this and that. It's the same thing. It's like I fell into this rabbit hole when I was looking into Germany. That's why I know specifically what had happened with Germany. I had to look into why this was happening, because I had somebody who was in here not too long ago who was telling me Germany is like, the immigrants here, it's just in their culture, they're all terrible people, they need to get the fuck out of here, it's just, they're just prone to that, they just don't like us, this, that, and the third. And I was like, okay, I understand that sentiment because that's just like what it seems like on the surface, but if we dive into the nuances of how this all had happens and like what the general vibe is for, you know, both Sweden nationals and immigrants, and how do they interact with each other, and how has the government helped them integrate with each other without this kind of shit happening, we have to all take that into consideration, right? Because that's the kind of stuff that pushes people to be radical, to be extreme, to act in such ways, right? Yeah, the bomb the innocent is just a side effect of immigration. Be nice and get bombed sounds nice. No, that's not a side effect of immigration. It's definitely not a side effect of immigration. You could get bombed by a foreigner even if they immigrated or not, right? I feel like that's what I'm saying. I feel like that's like these are the type of things that people shouldn't jump to conclusions on, right? We have confirmed the deaths today of two. Alright, let's see. Who's the guy who did it? According to the 24-year-old Ahmed, to having disability driven. Wait, he's a national? Oh, wait, okay. So, yeah, never mind. He's not national to Sweden. Oh, Afghan national. Motive. There's no evidence suggests it was okay, there's no motive. It's just it was terrorist, so it wasn't outside. So let's see. If I look up, what is it? Sweden, Afghan immigration relations or something. I have to like look into this for a long fucking time. I know I'm gonna have to do this for a long fucking time. Dude, generous asylum policies, it became a major destination. Okay, so a similar pattern to Germany at some point. They ended up changing their policies to accept a lot more immigrants. I sound like a dick? Wow, what the fuck? You just did a whole 180 flip just now. What, because I told you that this is not a side effect of immigration? Are you serious? You can't even tell me how it is. You're just going to tell me that it is because they came from a different country? Like, what? You don't think anything I said makes sense? That the effects of how a country integrates their immigrants plays a huge part in how they react to society that they live in? Like, just imagine for a brief second, put yourself into the shoes of someone who has to flee their country to go somewhere else, right? If you want a whole group of people to act in accordance to your like societal structures without anything bad happening, maybe you should treat them as like human beings instead of assuming and basically having that feeling that at any point they're just going to snap on you and kill you, right? Like, that's what's really naive and stupid, is going around believing that it's fair for you to assume that like 1 out of every like 3 Afghan immigrants are probably going to kill you. That's fucking retarded. That's actually retarded. Let's be for real now. It's crazy how quick that like broke your fucking brain. You snapped and went crazy just based on that. Jesus Christ. People get like the slightest bit of pushback and their whole reality melts around them. What the fuck? Jesus Christ. You're out here telling me that immigration brings bombing? The fuck? Let me ask you something, Can't Speak. I'm assuming you fucking ran away with your tail between your legs. Why hasn't this happened more in the United States? Why hasn't the same Afghan refugees that have fled also to the United States, why am I not seeing car bombings happening all the time? Let's be fucking real. It's the same question I ask every single other person who has the same fucking mentality. Why isn't that in other countries that have received the same groups of people for the same events that had caused them to flee their countries, why aren't we seeing that same type of cultural reaction? We don't. We don't. In the United States, the majority of, I guess, terrorist attacks that we see actually happen to be from United States citizens. They're like from white people who are MAGA or conservative right-wing crazy people, right? And all it takes for y'all, what's nuts is all it takes for most people, it seems, is 1 or 2 cases, maybe even 3, maybe even 4 cases of something bad happening to judge thousands of people. Thousands of people. Statistically speaking, it doesn't even make sense, right? So if I were to say, let's give you some leeway. Let's say 100 cases of immigrant bombings happen a year in Sweden, right? At minimum, you have right here, as it says, 34,750 fucking Afghanistan-born immigrants living in Sweden, right? You think that the percentage of that is going to be higher than 1? Do you think that that's going to be the case? And if you think that the percentage is lower than 1, then it's fair for you to make the assumption that the majority of immigrants, that it's just a side effect of immigrants is terrorism? Is death on the citizens? Get the fuck out of here. Come on. Let's be fucking for real. I was trying to be nice about it. But I guess, just like everybody else in this fucking country, y'all get so fucking ass mad the moment someone tells you that you might be thinking about something a little bit skewed, bitch. Jesus Christ. You know what's one thing that's consistent amongst Europeans I keep seeing? Is it seems like they have a large level of fucking racism that they just can't let go of. Like an underlying level of racism. They've seemed to kind of accepted most other foreign countries, but I don't think they can accept the Middle Easterns. I just don't think they could get around to doing that. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. How fucking disappointing. At least I got one less fucking idiot in my audience. Anyways, RFK Jr., he's at it again with the kicks. And along with that is Tulsi Gabbard, who is now a direct tap to our intelligence agencies for Russia. So that's great. They finally have done it after all these fucking years, these decades of spying and fucking infiltration and like just what have you, 007 shit. Now they got an easy access to the main vein of our security and our information structures. Yay! Woo! That can't be bad for us in any way in the future. Definitely not. And along with that, the federal buyout plan that Trump had passed before and pushed out to try to get all these federal employees to just quit because he bought them out. He was like, hey, either you accept the severance paychecks and whatever, or you don't get shit. Either way, you ain't gonna be in this position any longer and you're out of here. Alright? They're pushing it through. Pretty sure the deal had something to do with them accepting pay as if they're like still working up until September 30th. And, you know, I think there's probably a few other benefits alongside with that kind of just suck ass. But, yeah, the judge said, you know what, fuck it, let's let it happen, because at this point, those employees, even whether or not this is constitutional or whatever, those employees are going to be screwed out of any support if they don't do that. So there's that. And along with that, Ukraine was actually Trump had requested for Ukraine to give up half of its rare mineral wealth in order to continue to receive funding for the wars, as well as trying to force them into a position where they definitely have a peace deal, right? Of course, they rejected that. Ukraine was like, get the fuck out of here, that's insane. We're definitely not going to do that shit. And along with that, this terrible thing had happened. Oh my god. JD Vance, who at this point, I feel like most of us kind of forgot about, because he's barely mentioned anymore. Musk and Trump are definitely mentioned a lot more than Vance at this point. And honestly, I feel like he's kind of wishing they had Musk as a vice president, maybe. Well, you know what, maybe not, because he would probably be afraid of Musk, like, trying to purposely get him killed just to take over his position or what have you. But regardless, Vance still exists. He's still the vice president. And he went to Munich to have a speech where he was supposed to be talking about the security, like European security, trying to make sure that, you know, Russia and all these other enemy states don't try to jeopardize the security of the European bloc. Instead of talking about any of that stuff, he decided to talk shit to all these European politicians, right? He decided to attack them over culture war bullshit issues like free speech, and again, as we were just talking about, migration, right? Here, we see him making some bullshit claims like saying the closing of their businesses when Europeans, countries that closed their businesses and services during COVID, it was the same type of level of tyranny and dictatorship that was displayed during the Cold War, right? And then he took a bunch of events that happened in these different countries and basically twisted the explanation of these events, or oversimplified them to make it seem as if it was just a matter of the European country getting triggered or wanting to cancel said stuff, or that they're just offended. Trying to make it seem again like liberal, democratic, you know, culture war bullshit that they've always say over here in the United States, right? And of course, this is met to the dismay of all these leaders. They were not just pissed off and offended, but they were also disappointed that they couldn't even get to the crux of anything important.
The threat that I worry the most about vis-a-vis Europe is not Russia, it's not China, it's not any other external actor. And what I worry about is the threat from within, the retreat of Europe from some of its most fundamental values, values shared with the United States of America. Europe faces many challenges, but the crisis this continent faces right now, the crisis I believe we all face together, is one of our own making. Now, the good news is that I happen to think your democracies are substantially less brittle than many people apparently fear. And I really do believe that allowing our citizens to speak their mind will make them stronger still. Which, of course, brings us back to Munich, where the organizers of this very conference have banned lawmakers representing populist parties on both the left and the right from participating in these conversations. And of all the pressing challenges that the nations represented here face, I believe there is nothing more urgent than mass migration. Today, almost 1 in 5 people living in this country moved here from abroad. That is, of course, an all-time high. It's a similar number, by the way, in the United States, also an all-time high. The number of immigrants who entered the EU from non-EU countries
over this right now.
doubled between 2021 and 2022 alone, and of course it's gotten much higher since. And we know the situation, it didn't materialize in a vacuum. It's the result of a series of conscious decisions made by politicians all over the continent and others across the world over the span of a decade. No voter on this continent went to the ballot box to open the floodgates to millions of unvetted immigrants. But you know what they did vote for? In England, they voted for Brexit, and agree or disagree, they voted for it. And more and more all over.
Did he say one a day? Actually, I just read what he said before. Holy fuck. He actually claimed there was one a day. Hold on. Has that really happened? When was this? 2025. Wait, so what was doing this? It was criminal gangs. Wait, they're not even immigrants. Wait, what? Oh, they are. This is what I don't like. They never really cover, like, what the fuck? They're always so vague with this shit. It's like they're trying to purposely, like, make it hard to even crack down on who they're fucking referencing or talking about. Teenagers. Oh, they're teenagers. Oh my god, this is so stupid. Wait a minute. Bro, they're not even immigrants. They're not. Oh my god. This is what I'm saying. Bro, this is what I'm saying. And it pisses me off that they fucking leave before they can even see how stupid they sound. Because they know I'm like in the middle of looking this shit up. And it bothers me. These people are not even immigrants. What's happening when he said that there's bombings happening every fucking day? We have people from abroad who are going on Telegram and hiring children, teenagers, by sending them fucking money to do bullshit like blow things up and attack people. Like there's just people from abroad already paying criminals and gang members that are Swedish nationals. They're Swedish nationals in order to do shit like this. This is so frustrating. This is the same type of level of like propaganda rhetoric, like bullshit information twisting that was born out of the United States. They just take what we've mastered already and they just reapply, copy, and paste the shit. He's out here telling me, oh, bombings are happening every day from fucking immigrants. Meanwhile, as I had already accepted, because I said before in the United States that most of the terrorist attacks that happen are actually white kids, or like white supremacists, like fucking Nazis and shit. All of them are United States citizens. All of them are United States citizens. Again, here we go again. Same thing happening. They're all Swedish citizens. Maybe these parents should be taking more care of their fucking kids. This is actually crazy. This is fucking insane. And it's worse than insane. It's disgusting. I'm disgusted. I'm fucking disgusted. Regardless, here, after this talk that Vance had, a U.S. envoy announced that Europe will not be a part of the Ukrainian peace talks, which is kind of insane. That's a wild thing to even suggest, is to keep them all out of the entire, like, process, because this is a matter of importance for the entire European bloc. Yeah, this is important for everyone, right? And Zelensky, recognizing this, has called for the rise of a European army, right? In this moment, he is calling upon Europe to band together and make a EU-specific army to defend itself against Russia, right? And he's also doing that. He's doing this for two reasons. One, because he knows that right now, the United States is not allowing, I guess, Europe to be part of the peace talks with this kind of stuff. And he probably also suspects that the way that Trump is handling things, that the peace talks aren't going to be really doable or going to happen at all, right? One of the things that Trump is criticizing Ukraine and Europe for, especially when it comes to like trying to give them support with anything when it comes to security, is he's saying that they need to step up and take it into their own hands. They need to make their own defense much stronger and better and defend themselves. Basically just a figure it out for yourself. Like, fuck off and go figure it out for yourself, right? And he recognizes this, and I feel like this isn't so much him just bending the knee and trying to do whatever Trump is telling him to do, but it's more of like, hey, I'm gonna take this shitty situation and make the best I can for it. At least try to, right? Try to get an army to defend not just Ukraine but the rest of Europe from said invasion. I think it's a good idea, honestly, and you know, it also gets Europe out of the position of having to entirely rely on us to come and save the day or hold things afloat, because it gives us way too much power over them, and it puts them in a shitty position, right, where they have to essentially hope that every 4 years we don't get someone who's going to stand directly opposed to their best interests.
Now we can't rule out the possibility that America might say no to Europe on an issue that threatens it. Many leaders have talked about Europe that needs its own military, an army of Europe. And I really believe that time has come. The armed forces of Europe must be created. A few days ago, President Trump told me about his conversation with Putin. Not once did he mention that America needs Europe at the table.
Nope, not once.
That says a lot. The old days are over when America supported Europe just because it always had.
Well, there's that. There's that. Fucking Asmongold pissed me off. That's why I have this pulled off. And this is a little bit of a, I guess, random, non-important tangent. But he comes out here and says some dumb shit, right? Regardless of how you feel about transgender people and all that kind of stuff. He had a little stream where him and his chat kind of just got together and ragged on this rally, or what was it? I guess a little event where some people who are transgender and LGBTQ came out and just spoke for their rights and spoke about how they're concerned about the Trump administration and what's to come. And Asmongold had this really dumb thing to say, and I want to preface this. He has a cult following the same as Hassan, but just more right-leaning, and they're all a bunch of fucking idiots. Of course they're gonna jump down anyone's throat that has anything bad to say about him. So they'll say, as in they did in the comments here, that this clip is just taking it out of context and shit, which is kind of fucking ironic because he's about to get into how things get taken out of context all the time, which is, you know, again,
workers, trans. It's a bit of a miss. Like,
actually, the reason why I'm annoyed has nothing to do with any of that kind of shit. Actually, has to do with him speaking about the book burning that the Nazis did. He has something really fucking dumb to say about that.
My understanding is that they burned them not because it was gender stuff, but because it was written in Jewish and not German. And it was like a retaking of Germany for Germans. That was like the uprising of the Nazis. So it was like, yeah, they were. I think it probably might be both in some circumstances.
This is retarded. of course, it's retarded because they have explicitly stated, like in many different things in text, why they burnt the things that they did and got rid of the stuff they did. They've held the position that they didn't support this kind of shit anyway. It's obvious, it's plain as fucking day. Like, it's crazy to say that it's only because it was written in a different fucking language. That's definitely not the case. It definitely is not the fucking case. That's retarded. That's retarded. You're telling me all these gender studies for some reason were written in Jewish in Germany, and that's why they fucking burnt it? That doesn't make any fucking sense. Why did they burn all of them then? The German ones, the Jewish ones, they burn all of them. The Australian ones, the fucking American ones, they burn all of them. They burned all the things that had to do with that. It had nothing to do with the language. Like, he's defending it. He's defending it.
Like, it was categorical for it not being written in German.
It's disgusting. It makes me pissed off because he constantly says stupid shit like this and gets away with it, and his fucking fan base just claps for him. They clap in approval for this shit. It's just crazy. It doesn't even make sense. If you think about it, it doesn't make sense. But he follows it up with, oh, we don't have conversations that are in context anymore because we can't have honest conversations, this and that, blah, blah. Meanwhile, he's literally like removing the entire context of why they were burning books in the fucking first place and why they even looked at gender study books in the first place, let alone, like, he's like trying to make it seem like they burned all the Jewish books that were written. Like, of course they did. Of course they did. But they also burned German books that had shit in it that directly went against their whole reign. Their whole fucking reign. And their, like, agenda. Everything. What the fuck? It's so relevant too. It's such a relevant thing to say. The guy who was talking was, you know, speaking about the book burnings and how they targeted gender studies first. It was one of the first things that they targeted and shit like that. That's why they even brought up in the first place. That's why they even brought up in the first place. But again, I'm pretty sure that covers everything that I had set up for today. What the fuck? It's crazy how many trolls jumped in right away at the beginning. That was fucking nuts. That was actually crazy. It's nuts out there, like, kind of just ready and waiting for me to come on. It's like, what the fuck did I do to even attract that attention from you guys? God damn. And you know what? What I will be doing, probably on my off time, is looking deeper, I guess, into the Swedish situation that's going on with immigration. Because I want to laugh and I want to almost a little bit cry because of how depressing this is. But I already know what the common characteristics are when it comes to a European who seems to 100% know a lot about other cultures that from the Middle East and how these people tend to act because they've had a couple bad interactions with them in person, and because they've heard some propaganda on the news that was misinformation. Straight up. Like, the whole bombings every day is nuts. It's nuts that they could conveniently overlook that the majority of them were committed by 14-year-old Swedish nationals who were paid by fucking foreign criminal gang members. Because the Swedish nationals, the young kids, they got swept up in these gangs as well. Apparently, the parents in the country isn't doing shit to make sure that these kids aren't doing stupid stuff and falling prey to such crazy things like that. Maybe they should step it up instead of just blanket blaming immigrants like it seems a lot of slightly racist or stereotypical how people fall into, right? If you want to solve immigration, just learn more about how immigration happens in your country. That's all you gotta do. Stop assuming shit based on like a race in a couple instances. Just like MAGA fucking does when they find two situations where some immigrants killed somebody. They're gonna sit here and tell me that this is just how they are and they act like this every fucking day. Meanwhile, the majority of fucking violent deaths and terrorist attacks that happen in the country are from their own peoples? The fuck out of here. Get the out of here. What time is it, guys? Sheesh. Well, I'm about to call it a night. I think we've hit that time. I covered everything that I was gonna have. I'm sorry today was a little bit all over the place. I feel like I was just swamped at the trolls this morning, or at the beginning. Kind of threw me off guard. Anyways, man, I need to vent this. I know. I feel like I'm just saying this into the air and whatever. I feel like every day of my life, I'm more and more shocked. And I guess like my hope just dwindles more and more because of these interactions I have where people will snap. They have a fucking meltdown because I slightly disagree with them. Slightly. And then when I hardcore disagree with them, it's like they become, I don't know what it is. They've like abandoned their personality and assume the personality is something else. I don't know what that is. And I see this not just online, I see this in person. I see this in the real world too. It's just crazy. A lot of my ex-classmates from high school, you know, a lot of them are like that. They fall in the same shit. You know, it makes me feel like I should have drank the Kool-Aid, I guess. So I can stop feeling a little bit less insane. But then again, I don't want to I would hate to find myself making ridiculous statements and contradictory claims and just sacrificing all my principles for what? To be on the winning side, the side that has the cooler looking logos or has the louder voice or whatever the fuck this shit is? Like, I don't know what the fuck that is. And I see these like things like this. Can't speak. Who comes in? They come in and fucking, they're not even from the United States. And they got all these crazy fucking opinions. Or people who are in the United States who have worse opinions, despite the fact that they know what the fuck is going on here. They live here. I don't know. One day my stream, I'm just gonna log on, man, and my stream's just gonna be me banging my head against the wall over and over again like this for like 2 hours, just going till like a freaking hole like forms in it. Cause that's the mentality or the mental state I feel like I'm about to reach at this point. There's just a constant like banging my head against the wall, hoping that that wall is gonna fucking move out the way. Oh well. Maybe tomorrow will be a better day. I hope everyone chills out, be easy, smoke some weed, fucking read a book, guys. Pray for the best.